Now's the time. There's some coffee in the back. If you'd like to go grab you some coffee, we will be starting in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So now's the time to make your move. To the bathroom, to the coffee, and I'll probably go to the dessert table. I think I have time.
I'll be back. Sorry. You want to go with me? Put that down and you can go with me. All right, go ahead.
No. If it's really good, I want to hear you say this is going to be a assignment.
Have your attention, we want to get started. Kind of leery, you know, because the last one of these we had was with the CSU Pueblo Hall of Fame back in October, and the fire alarm went off, and we were there till 11 o'clock. So we don't want that to happen, so we're going to get started. And here to present both the Brian McCartney Outstanding Athlete Awards. Before I do that, though, Jerry Carter is in charge of the food here tonight for the food services. I think that CSU Pueblo is the best food in town. And, you know, I'm not trying to compete with La Porchetta, but you know, for a major event like a university or a convention center, Jerry Carter puts out the best meals, and tonight's was exceptional. Here to present the Brian McCartney Outstanding Athlete Awards for high school, and then the Solly Rosso Championship Award is Miles Gorham. Miles?
Thanks, Mike. It's now my privilege to present the awards for the most outstanding male and female athlete, as well as the most outstanding school as a conglomerate in team athletics this year. So first we'll start with the Brian McCartney Awards. The Brian McCartney Award is given annually to outstanding high school senior male and female athletes in the Pueblo area. The award is named after McCartney, a longtime administrator with the Pueblo Public Schools and a staunch advocate for high school sports. And first, the male outstanding athlete of the year from Pueblo South High School, Maurice Austin. Here to accept the awards on behalf of Maurice is his sister, Sydney Avila, and head basketball coach, Coach Shannon Lane. And just to speak a few minutes about Maurice. As a freshman, Maurice averaged 12.1 points per game and was a first-team All-South Central League honorable mention All-State. As a sophomore, he averaged 21.7 points a game and was the first-team All-South Central League and first-team All-State. As a junior, he averaged 27.2 points a game, and again, a first-team All-Conference and All-State, as well as a USA Today Top 50 watch list. His senior year, he averaged 31.6 points a game, was the 5A Player of the Year for the second year straight, and of course, All-Conference and All-State. He's just one of 14 male basketball players in the state to score over 2,000 career points. And not only was he a great athlete, he also had a 3.9 grade point average and student lettered in track and field. Again, Maurice Austin. And now for the female most outstanding athlete, Hadley Wellsby, Central High School. Here to accept the award on her behalf is her mother, Tracy Spanuzzi. Hadley is a freshman lettered in track and field, gymnastics, golf, swim, and dive. As a sophomore, she did all of that, but also was the breakout athlete of the year, She repeated as a junior and senior, but was also selected the outstanding all-around female athlete. Off the court, she was a senior class president, head of the girls' cabinet, and an outstanding volunteer for many causes. Again, Hadley Wellsby. And now the Solly Rosso Award. The GPSA established the Solly Rosso All Sports Championship Award in honor of Solly. He was a teacher, coach, administrator, and a county commissioner. He served on many boards for the city of Pueblo, as well as with CHASA, the Colorado High School Activities Association. And when the GPSA first established, he was the first president of the association. This award is presented to one of the 8 area high schools whose athletic teams excelled on all 3 seasons, fall, winter, and spring. The 2023-2024 High School Solly Rosso Award winner, Pueblo West High School. Here to accept the award on Pueblo West's behalf is Tanya Odell, the Academy Coordinator for the school. It's now my privilege to bring up Dr. Paul Polinsky to give out the Spain Blazing and Jesse Banks Awards. These are the CSU Pueblo's outstanding male and female athletes of the year. So here to present those awards, Dr. Paul Polinsky, Vice President of Athletics and Strategic Partnership.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to CSU Pueblo on behalf of Armando Valdez, our 16th president at the university. I'm honored to be able to stand up here and to be able to accept these awards on behalf of 3 individuals that represent our athletic department. Our first one is named after Jessie Banks. And for those of you that may not know who Jessie is a pioneer in women's sports. In fact, she's in 8 Hall of Fames across the country, and we are honored to have this award that we recognize student athletes within our athletic department each year. So she established this award for a female to receive this at our spring sports banquet, and she was primarily involved in resurrecting all of our female sports along with athletic director Harry Simmons. That being said, she has an individual that can excel both in academics and athletics, and the recipient in 2024 was Kylie Severin. Kylie is a native of Denver. She actually went to Vista Peak Prep High School in Aurora and came to the Thunderbolts to play on our women's golf team and was RMAC Academic Athlete of the Year and led the Thunderbolts to 2 conference championships and appearances in the NCAA championships while she was a participant here. Our 2 other individuals who were recognized as the James Spank Blazing Award recipients. And by the way, this award was named after James Spank Blazing, who was a longtime track and field coach and administrator for us, who wanted us to give a recognition to student athletes that did well both academically and athletically. The 2 individuals represent our men's soccer program. For the last 3 years in a row, our men's soccer program has won 50 games, lost 11, and tied 8 times. This year our team is 13-3-3 and has won the conference championship and will be paying for the conference championship tournament on Saturday night here at the Art Moran Gonzalez Soccer Lacrosse Stadium at 7 p.m. But last year's recipients were 2 individuals from that program. Kenshin Uneo. Kenshin is from Japan. He hails with a 4.0 GPA. He received what's called the Elite 90 Award, which means that he had the highest grade point average in all the teams that competed in the NCAA championships in men's soccer last year and the year before. Sean Andrews is on our roster this year. He is a 3-time RMAC Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All-American for the Thunderbolts, and he too is a stellar individual in the classroom. He's from Skyline High School and will lead us this weekend in a conference championship. So I'll be glad to accept these on their behalf and give them to them, whether it's in Japan, Aurora, or right here in our backyard. But before I do accept those, I'd like to give a shout out to 2 people. Alexa Snyder and her family, congrats for representing the PAC as the inductee in the GPSA. And then none other than the one and only Joe Cervi. Super proud of that man. Great individual and a representative of all that's great about the community, but we love him as a PAC supporter. So thank you all. Congrats to all the inductees.
Thank you, Dr. Blinsky. He does a tremendous job as the athletic director here. Whenever I hear the Spank Blazing Award, I have to remember a story from when I went to school here a long time ago. And I wanted to take all the vigorous classes for PE. And so I took bowling, which Spank, you know, is very vigorous, but got to walk all the way up there. And anyway, he was the teacher. And they had a bowling alley on the Ormond campus in the student center. When I say bowling alley, I mean alley. It was one alley. And he came the first day and he held up the bowling ball and he said, "This is the ball. The purpose of this game is to throw the ball down the lane to hit the pins." And I said, "Could I get some notes here? I've got to take some notes. This is getting tough." So anyway, Spank Blazing was very colorful. I think it's time, if I'm not mistaken, for the 3 greatest moments in Pueblo history, sports history. And if I think you should be able to see these as I let you know about them on the screen. Arrow 1, 1913 to 1982. 1972 SCSE men's basketball team hosts the NCAA West region. They won their region with an 86-83 win over Seattle Pacific, I remember the game, and to earn a trip to the Elite Eight. More than 4,100 fans packed Basari Arena both nights to take in the Indians' wins, coached by Harry Simmons. Is anyone here from that team or at that era that is here tonight? Okay. They were all younger than me, so I thought they might still be alive anyway. All right, next era, 2000, Bobby Hall of Pueblo, Centennial, wins the 4A State Shot Put Championship and the 4A State Discus, coached by Tim Mondragon and Scott Lane. Any of them here tonight by any chance? Yes. And then the next era, and I know we have representatives from this group, 2022 and 2023, Pueblo East Wrestling wins back-to-back 4A State Wrestling Championships, coached by Pat Laughlin, and I think Pat is here. Pat, are you here? Great. And whatever team members are here. We have team members from that team? Okay, all of you stand. And I believe I'm supposed to tell all the honorees to leave the room, but it looks like they've already left the room. So, are we ready to bring them in then, Jerry? Okay, we will do that. Okay, are you all ready? Woo! You're in the right order? Like C should be first, you got that? Okay, guys, all right, good. Okay, first, Joe Cervi. Did you bring your whole graduating class? Wow. Graham Ivan. Christopher James. Jim Ranson. I always want some wrestlers so that they could be my size, but I think we've got all basketball guys. So.
Me. I'm no guy.
Alexa Snyder Sandoval. There we go, she's the right height. Feel better, Jerry?
Yeah, a lot better.
John Michael Thompson. Yeah, that's what they gave me, so I'm sorry, Mike. We have most of that graduating class going in tonight, so, from South. Bill Yalotz. Okay, I guess now we can start introducing them, right? Okay. Great. And just one word of advice to all of you. Whenever anybody goes too long, they make fun of you for like the whole year, okay? You know, and they throw things, and there's one guy that went so long, like 12 years ago, and he can't come back to town. So we know you're proud, but it's a school night. Okay, first, our first inductee, Joe Cervi. Joe, of course, is known primarily as a longtime sports writer for the Pueblo Chieftain, but that only scratches the surface of his contributions to sports articulation and involvement. After graduating from Colorado State University, where he was a proud Ram, and still is, Joe worked at the Loveland Herald. He returned to his hometown in 1995, where he began a vaunted 23-year career as the Pueblo Chieftain. He covered every local high school as well as many area teams surrounding us, like San Luis Valley, etc. But he's best known for his coverage of all sports for many years at this school, CSU Pueblo. He rose from reporter to deputy sports editor to sports editor, and is also known for his entertaining and insightful weekly column. He's been published in, among other places, USA Today, the Los Angeles Times, the Denver Post, and the Rocky Mountain News. But that's not all. He's been an on-air talent at CMN Sports TV and has hosted a weekly sports show on both television and radio. He's been the color commentator for CSU Pueblo football games since the return of football in 2008. He's been a Heisman Trophy voter for 15 years. He's been honored as a Media Member of the Year by the Southern Colorado Press Club. He is and has been a member of many local boards, and to top it off, is a longtime musician with the vaunted Occhiato Tamburica Slovenian group, Joe Cervi.
Awful lot of colds up here. Excuse the mess. Coach Massaro, is this what it's like to lead off? I never got to lead off in my life, so this is kind of fun to go first. When the GPSA called and told me that I was elected into the Hall of Fame, I thought, did they finally come up with a wing for JV role players? I was like, yes, JV guys are going to get recognized. And then I thought, my favorite story is one time when I was a junior at Central, we were working full court fast break layups. Saturday morning, Jimmy's dad liked Saturday morning practices, full court fast break layups, and I was bringing up the ball. And all I heard was Coach Ranson say, "Cervi, get it to a guard." And I said, "I am a guard." He said, "Get it to the other guard." That was my high school career in a nutshell. Then they said, "Well, you were selected as a contributor." Okay, it made slightly more sense, just slightly. Every fall for 23 years, someone from the GPSA would walk in the back door of the Chieftain with a stack of manila envelopes. And in those manila envelopes were the year's inductees for the Hall of Fame. Coaches, athletes, officials, contributed administrators, and even contributors. We all sat around and we picked who was going to write what. And I look in this room and I go, tonight, I know I wrote some of your induction stories. I wrote some of those feature stories about you getting in the Hall of Fame. And I look at this table, this class, and I wrote about every one of them up here except for maybe Bill, but Bill's part of the Chieftain family forever, so it counts. And if you look at Lexi's clippings when she was in high school and college, I wrote about her both in high school and college. That's how old I am. The truth is, I never thought my name would be in that stack of manila envelopes. The only reason why I'm here is because of you people. Because of your exploits. I got to share what you did and who you were, and I got to share your stories. As a sports writer, a columnist, a radio guy, I worked in the toy department of newspapers, and it was a blast. It was just so much fun to go to games and meet people and have relationships you have forever and ever. And all I had to do was write about it. I made you laugh, I made you cry, I made you mad. I made a lot of you mad. But it was a privilege and an honor to get to do that. So tonight, I'm thanking you for putting me here, not literally, but figuratively as well. And first, I need to thank my wife, Lynn, 34 years. Anybody who's the spouse of a coach, an athlete, an administrator, official, you know the kind of sacrifices you have, right? You just give of yourself so they can do what they do. There's no off season for sports writers. You all got your papers on Christmas Day. Somebody had to do that. And so, we made plans for Friday or Saturday based on the schedule of your people. And you know what? She was very tolerant of that for 29 years. So I thank you for that. My kids, they're all grown now. They grew up at Runyon and Dutch and Massari. And what better places for kids to grow up in this town? They thought it was really fun to go to work with Dad until it wasn't. Because Dad was always there 2 hours early and 2 hours after the games, and they just kind of ran around until they were like, okay, we're bored. My son Gino used to make a killing. He'd bring a group of kids up to the press box at Dutch, and he'd charge them $1 for a piece of candy, and they'd open the door and they'd peek in, and they'd close it. And then next quarter it'd come up, there'll be another group of kids. I think Gino made a fortune. To my mom, my sister, my brother, and any of you others with the Cervi name, thank you for being guilty by association. I wrote a lot of things that people didn't like. I wrote a lot of things that people did like, so thank you. But, when your mom goes to the cashier at the King Soopers and they ask if you're related to me, that's 50-50 proposition. Athletes and coaches know when to hang them up. It's kind of a given. My decision to lead the glamorous life of terrible hours and worse pay was forced on me when the Chieftain was sold. I knew it was time to get out. I haven't made a lot of great decisions in my life, but that was a good one. The problem was it was terrifying because my skill set included creating content, eating lunch, and playing golf. Okay, those were my skills. And trying to find a job where you can turn that skill set into a career and feed a family. Well, Seth Clayton and Pueblo Water saw something in those that they kept us in Pueblo, they kept me employed, and it's been a great decision ever since. So thanks to my current editor-in-chief, Seth. I got to give a special shout. I'm kind of sad he got to do it before I did, Paul. They allow me to do broadcasting still, even though I'm not with the paper. And every summer I email Paul and I say, hey, just trying to make plans for the fall. Do you want me back? Because I don't take it for granted. What we do up here is what we did. It's a privilege, it's an honor, and every year Paul just says, yeah, let's run it back. So thank you. To Mike for nominating me, for Danny and Risto for your words of encouragement and recommendation letters. Thank you. And to the GPSA selection committee, thank you for this. And to Sis, they already mentioned it earlier, but he has done everything in his power to make this a great night for all of us. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of you. I'm honored and I'm humbled. Thank you.
Joe was so good at what he did for the Chieftain that I remember the morning I read his column saying this is it, that I called him like 8:30 in the morning and said, I can't, this is like the end of an era. I was just in such shock. He also made it possible for me to play golf with Sonny Lubick, so Okay, Prim Ivan. Prim graduated from Pueblo South in 1975, like most of the inductees tonight. Well, at South, he was a 3-year letter winner in golf. He was the individual district champion in 1975. Prim qualified for state twice. He was second in the high school city championship, trailing only the ultimate state champion. Prim then went to what is now CSU Pueblo. He was on the varsity golf team all 4 years, and he was a 2-time all-conference selection. He was also honorable mention All-American. He led the then Indians to 2 straight NCAA tournament appearances. After college, he was a 3-time winner of the Pueblo City Championship. He was the Western Chapter Champion in 1987 and played in 2 Colorado Opens. As a pro, he was a teaching pro in Colorado Springs for 1 year, and then became the assistant at Pueblo City Park in the early 80s, and then at Hillcrest in Durango for 5 years. But Prim is best known for his 29-year run as pro at Hollydot, where he truly put Hollydot on the map. He was known to run first-rate tournaments and was well respected as a teacher and a pro shop manager. In a profession where grouchiness is not unusual, Prim was known to be one of the nicest golf pros around. He's a member of a golfing family that former teammate and fellow graduate Ray Erjavik calls the Brady Bunch of golf. In fact, Ray says, not only could I not beat anybody in that house, I couldn't even beat their dog. Anyway, Prim Ivan.
Thank the Hall of Fame for this great honor. And I want to thank my wife Robin, my family, and my friends. I'm really touched by all the people that showed up today. There's a lot of friends out there from other teams and stuff that played golf when I played golf, and they were very good. And so I want to thank my mom and dad for being avid golfers and getting us into this golf. And so my brother Steve, I couldn't beat him. I think I beat him when I was 17 and he was 12. He's just a great golfer. And so Jim Brooks knows it. And the things, I used to babysit Jim Brooks. I wanted to tell you that. Okay, and I think we would hop the fence on St. Clair and State all day long, all my brothers. And so we had a lot of golfers at the time who could play well. And I think there wasn't phones or video games. It was just golf and us working on our game. And let me see. I'd like to thank Coach Reisner. He was my golf coach at South. He was a great player himself, and he was great with the mic, helping with course management. And played with my good friend Ken Hedrick. We pushed each other. Played golf in college at USC with some good players that started to play my best golf. And I won a few city championships and did pretty well in the college tournaments. And after college, I wanted to become a golf pro and worked some years over there at City Park Golf Course. Then in 1984, I was married and took the job as assistant pro in Durango at Hillcrest Golf Course. That is where I learned the business under Jim Fiala. I had a lot of majors, tournaments. We had a lot of members, played in a lot of tournaments that time. And the thing, we lived in a little trailer on the 10th hole, little mice running around. Sorry, Robin, I had to say that. And so we just had to pay our dues, I told myself. So I left there in 1989 and still looking for a head pro job. It's been 10 years. I'm getting a little nervous. And so it's real competitive at that time. And then I worked a couple years at the World Golf Center in Colorado Springs, gave a lot of lessons, probably 1,000 a year. And somewhere I honed my craft under Mark Fontana. Then in 1991, I got my big break and became the head pro at Hollydot. 3 different nights, just had to build that course up, and we did it. We had a lot of members. We hosted a lot of outside tournaments. Hosted 57 regional championships, 200 high school events. I built relationships and friendships with a lot of people. It was like a family. And I got to talk about Coach Steve Best. He passed away 4 years ago, and he was instrumental in that golf program for the boys and girls. And so they loved him, and he is missed today. Mark Anslevar. He came in 2012. He was a game changer. He made that golf course what it is today and still continues to do so. And I feel golf is the best game in the world because you can play it for a lifetime. And I always told my junior players to be honest, and how you act on the golf course is how you act in life. I really emphasize that. Hopefully I made an impact in the sport from that time at Hollydot. And let me see, like I continue to teach the game. And so, and thank you to the golf course for letting me teach walking stick, Hollydot, and Elmwood. I get to teach at the golf course. And stuff, I appreciate those golf pros really helped me out to let me do that, to do what I love. And lastly, I went into this business because I love golf and I love being around people and helping them to enjoy this great game. And then I'd like to thank God for everything He's done for me on my journey. Thank you very much to all of you.
I noticed both of the first two speakers mentioned Jim Brooks as being a key part of their life. Jim, stand up. You're here tonight. Where are you? Jim Brooks. The voice of the Thunderwolves. I almost said Indians. Whoa. Okay, Christopher James. Chris has excelled as an athlete, coach, teacher, and administrator. He wrestled at South, where he was a 3-time letterman. Did anybody here not go to South? Okay, anyway. I know, Joe. Okay, you went to South. Okay, all right. You're surrounded by Colts tonight. I apologize. Okay, he wrestled at South, where he was a 3-time letterman between 1985 and 89. He then joined the Army and continued his wrestling career, achieving all-Army status. After that, he returned to the University of Southern Colorado and wrestled for that team. While in Hawaii, he was the head coach of the Army wrestling team and had 4 athletes achieve all-Army status. He was a volunteer coach at the Liahua High School. Boy, I hope I said that right. And they became the Hawaii state champions. As a coach, locally, he was an assistant at South when the Colts won the 4A state championship and had 6 individual state champions. He became head coach at Rampart High School, where he had a state champion, and then went to Fountain Fort Carson, where he coached more state champions and qualifiers, and was named Metro Coach of the Year twice. He has a school record for the most state qualifiers and champions. Off the mat, he's been a teacher, dean of students, athletic director, and principal at Pueblo West High School. Christopher James.
Go Colts, Joe. Up there, you're right. Good evening, everyone. It's a very humbling feeling standing here as an inductee into the Greater Sports Association Hall of Fame tonight. To be honored alongside so many exceptional athletes and coaches, the people who have defined sports in our community, is a privilege I don't take lightly. Each of you has contributed to the spirit and resilience and heart that defines Pueblo. I am deeply, deeply grateful. As I look around, I see teammates, mentors, family, and friends who supported and shaped my journey. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Hall of Fame committee and everyone here for their dedication to keeping our sports community thriving. You all inspire me, and I hope my story offers a little inspiration back, especially to the younger athletes in the room. Like many here, my journey began as a kid with a couple of friends, Alfie Cottonsteady and Danny Romero. They dared me to wrestle at South, and that one decision changed my life. I didn't make the team initially, but I won my first tournament by the season's end. From there, I was hooked, and Coach Jerry Cisneros became my mentor and lifelong friend. Right out of high school, I joined the Army and found myself in Iraq during Desert Storm. I remember one night lying in the desert. I had just survived the most unbelievable past couple of days, and I thought, if I make it out of here, I need to do something a little different with my life. That thought was like a match. I knew I needed to heal and help others through coaching and teaching. And so I set my path. Wrestling took me from place to place, from Pueblo to Georgia to Hawaii to Colorado Springs and worldwide. At each stop, I took on challenges and fought battles, sometimes literally and sometimes in the wrestling room. When the Army world-class athlete head coach Tony Thomas put me on the spot for a grueling match minutes after stepping off of a 10-hour plane ride, I laughed and said, "Bring it." But that experience taught me resilience, and that anything worth achieving comes with a fight. Once I pinned one of the national champions, Sean Lewis, in a match, and the other Army athletes kept asking me where I was from. I told them I was from Pueblo, Colorado, and they wondered where that was. My response was, "Now you know." And I walked off laughing. The chip on my shoulder for our community still stands to this day. Returning to the South High School wrestling room felt natural when I returned home. From then on, I was home. Giving back to the next generation, my coaching and teaching career took me to Rampart, Found Fort Carson, Pueblo West, and back to South, and beyond, and even to the University World Championships and Olympic team camps. Along the way, I've had the honor of seeing athletes become state champions, All-Americans, an Olympian in 2021, world medalists, elite soldiers, doctors, pilots, engineers, teachers, and leaders. Of course, the most important thank you goes to my wife of 35 years, Sulema, and my daughter, Caitlin, for supporting me every step of the way. Their love and patience has been the foundation that allowed me to pursue this path and share my passion with so many. This journey has been as much about giving as receiving. The young people I've coached taught me what it means to be resilient, to bounce back after every fall, and to keep going on no matter the odds. Working with them has healed my soul, and I hope I've helped them find their path. To the young athletes in the room, remember that every stumble and setback is just part of your story. Make it worth telling. And to my friends, family, and community, thank you for shaping me and allowing me to shape others. And to my grandchildren, Carter, Corey, and Jesse, Papa loves you more than words can say. Remember this, life will always test you, but strength comes from facing challenges head on, keeping calm in adversity. Be patient with yourselves and always choose kindness. Every day is a chance to grow. Be brave, be resilient, and live a life that fills you with pride. Thank you, Greater Pueblo Sports Association, for this tremendous honor, which means the world to me. Thank you.
They always thought wrestlers were some of the toughest guys. I mean, just out there one-on-one and that's it. Wrestlers and rodeo guys, except most rodeo guys are also mentally disturbed, so you know that. You don't just get on a bull and get through. I mean, you got to be a little nuts. Anyway, Jim Ranson, Joey got another colt, but his dad was a Wildcat, okay? So feel good about that. Anyway, Jim was a legend at South High School in the mid-70s with all these other guys. Both basketball and baseball. His nomination said that he lettered all 3 years. That's like saying Elvis put out some records, okay? Yeah, he lettered. He was All-City and Player of the Year in basketball. He was All-State and on the All-Tourney team in the state basketball tournament. He was the high scorer in the state championship game in 1975 with 28 points. He was selected to the Western All-American basketball team that year. Then he turned to baseball, where he was All-South Central League and All-State. Jim received a scholarship to play both basketball and baseball at DU. While at DU, he had a 44% shooting percentage. In baseball, he hit numerous home runs and batted more than 300. Then he transferred after his sophomore year to San Diego State. He told me tonight that the point guard on that team was Tony Gwynn. He was in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Anyway, he was selected the WAC All-Conference Player in basketball and Defensive Player of the Year. In baseball, he was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. He was also an academic All-American. After college, Jim embarked on a successful real estate career. So we're honored to have him with us tonight, Jim Ranson.
Thank you, Mike. Actually, most of that stuff is true, so nice work. I'd like to thank the selection committee. This is a huge honor. Huge honor for me and my family. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the sponsors that supported me. My brother Brad, probably everybody knows. Ronnie Padilla, told me, we're going to make this happen for you. And you need to be in there. I said, cool. So, how do you think? Unfortunately, that conversation happened about 18 years ago. But it's okay. Yeah, early. I'd like to thank, actually congratulate all the inductees. Again, just a huge honor. Special congrats to the South Colts. Sorry, Joe. What's crazy is there's 3 of us from the class of 1975. So that's pretty amazing. Mike was having a good time for us in South Colt. Chris, the fight song, South Colt fight song, really helped. Showing you that. Okay. Well, I couldn't see it either, but I mean, I was in the locker room at the time when they were playing the song. So when DP was strategizing, drawing on the board, Big Go and the TV were humming the song, and I know a couple guys on the team knew the song. I'd like to recognize and thank the coaches that I had throughout my career. Got Pueblo such a great place for sports, for talent, for coaches. Joe T, Bobby Graham, GH, Guy Kennedy, all really good players in their own right, and just a group to play for. So just really lucky to have that kind of coaching in my life. Special thanks to Chuck DePietro. Wish he was here tonight because, I'd love to thank him personally. I don't know if many of you saw how we played at South, but God, was it a blast. Fast break, run and gun, pick and roll. I mean, man, we practiced that way, we played that way. Not only was it fun to watch, but it was just a hoot to play. So if Chuck was here tonight, I'd say, too bad we couldn't deliver one for you, because he certainly deserves a state championship. So thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it. Last but not least is my dad. Never had a chance to play for him, but he coached me all my life. He is truly the reason why I'm standing here tonight. He taught us what winning was all about. He also taught us how to be a good loser, just like life. One of his favorite sayings always used to crack me up, but it's so true, and that is act like you've been there before. And to all the Buff fans that drove down from Denver, God, I really appreciate it, but sure, that whole Buff thing you got. And I'll tell you what, growing up as a coach's kid was like living a dream. Man, I, as well as my brothers and sisters, man, we spent all our time in District 60 in the right field. Man, what was cool about it was back then, man, the Wildcats had some of the best teams in the state. I mean, football, basketball, and baseball were some of the really great players that came out of Pueblo. And as an 8, 9, 10-year-old, man, I idolized those guys. Going to South was interesting, but it was really no different. The dream continued. We had some really solid teams with some really great players as well. What was really extra special about living on the South Side, going to South, was playing with the guys that I grew up with, my buddies, my bros. Kind of reminds me of the movie Sandlot, just like it. Except when we got up to high school, they suited us up. They suited us up with some really sweet things, black and white, matching shoes and socks. I mean, those things were nice. What's the chocolate? Here I am up here giving it all. What was really a blessing in that whole situation was just the truly wonderful lifelong friends that I made. Still love to see them today, still stay in touch, but not as much as I'd like to, but that's what it was all about. Speaking of which, a few years ago, we lost a really long-time friend and bro, and that was Jim Brunja. Brody and I actually went to kindergarten together. From that day forward, he was my point guard, which is good and bad, because as a point guard, he always handled the ball and decided where he would pass the ball. The bad thing was he always handled the ball and decided where the ball went. So we had some interesting times going back and forth. But Ronnie was truly one of a kind. One of the most competitive and toughest son of guns I've ever played with. I mean, guys, Paul Brads comes to mind, Paul Ball from Central. My brother Brad, man. Yeah, really, just still don't understand it. It's irrelevant at this point in time, but we miss you. Wish you were here. I love you, brother. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family for being so supportive most of the time. And my biggest fans most of the time. My brother Brad, Clay, Cheryl, they were in my court all along, and it was fun to come home and kind of see their reaction, and it was just all part of the program. So thank you so much. And most of all, I'd like to thank my wife, Martha, and my two sons, Ben and Jack. Both of those guys were solid athletes in high school as well, but more importantly, man, they've turned out to be some really solid, good people. And that's what I'm most proud of. And as far as my wife is concerned, having you in my life has been the biggest blessing in my life. Given me purpose, love and passion. You've made my life worth living. And I thank God every day for coming into my life. So, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for coming, especially.
Obviously, the Ivans are the Brady Bunch of golf, the Ransons are the Brady Bunch of basketball, certainly. And you might have been in the locker room, but I was in the press box for at least 100 of those basketball and football games. And I won't do it because it'll clear the room. I could do the East, Central, County, and Centennial fight songs as well as Roncalli's, because I heard them 78,000 times. I don't know why, I can't remember counties. But anyway, our next honoree is Alexis Snyder Sandoval. Now, Joe called you Lexi, so can I do that? And want me to call you Lexi, or is Alexa better? I guess. Anyway, Alexa was a 3-sport star at East High School in softball, basketball, and soccer, and then excelled at CSU Pueblo in softball. Alexa's bio mentions that she lettered 4 years in softball, which again is quite an understatement. She was, it says they lettered, like they were all world, they probably lettered, right? Anyway, she was all conference all 4 years. She was all state 3 of the 4 years. She was the GPSA Brian McCartney Award winner as the outstanding high school athlete. In basketball, she was all conference 3 times. Her team appeared in the state tournament all 4 of her years, including appearances in the Elite 8 and Final 4. In soccer, she was the team's highest scorer in all conference. She received an academic letter and was also recently inducted into the East High School Hall of Fame. At CSU Pueblo, she was all-conference 3 times and RMAC Player of the Year. She was the CSU Pueblo single season and career stolen base record holder. No, she still is, by the way. Alex is the Thunderwolves' all-time hits, triples, and home run leader. She is in the top 5 in several other categories, and in the top 10 in the RMAC in several categories. That's pretty amazing. Let's hear from Alexis Sandoval.
impossible to know where to start to thank the many people who have been a part of my journey. But I would like to start with Pat Laughlin. Thank you for nominating me. I'm truly honored and humbled. Him and his family are a testament to the amazing people that I've had the opportunity to know during my athletic journey. I'm so thankful to all the coaches that have poured their time and knowledge into me over my entire career. They have not only taught me athletic skills, but the skills of hard work and resilience. So, to this day, it still puts a smile on my face anytime I run into any of them. Being an athlete has had much more of an impact on my life than I could have ever imagined. It goes far greater than any accomplishment on the field or court. God, through sports, has blessed me with so many lifelong friends and skills that will be with me forever. To my parents, thank you. Will never be enough. From driving me to endless practices and games, making sure I had everything I needed to be successful, coaching me and being part of every step along the way, supporting me when I was down, or supporting me when everything was going well, but even more so when it wasn't and I was down. I love you guys, and I'm so thankful for all the time, love, and sacrifices you have made for me. You've not only showed me how to be a dedicated athlete, but you've showed me how to be a dedicated and present parent. And that is truly more valuable than any trophy or award. While I know the love you two both had for me watching me play sports, that page has now turned, and now they get to watch their grandbabies. And you can bet you find those two on a field or a court almost every weekend. So again, I just want to tell you guys that thank you for giving me so much of your time and my family your time. I love you both endlessly. And finally, thank you to the Greater Sports Association for putting together this banquet to honor these amazing athletes, coaches, officials, and contributors. And also congratulations to my fellow inductees. Thank you.
And looking at your statistics, there are teams that don't have those statistics, so pretty amazing. Okay, we're back to South High again. John Michael Thompson, I know you got, that's what your name is on the thing, so it's like, Mike Thompson is a graduate of South High School, 1975, and the University of Southern Colorado. Upon graduation, he immediately went into the sports equipment business, where he still enjoys a very successful career. After a brief career with Arch Billmeyer Company, representing Russell Athletic Wear and Johnson & Johnson, Mike began a 40-year career with Rawlings Athletic Company as lead sales representative in the top Southern California market, where he quickly became Rookie Sales Rep of the Year. He then became Senior Vice President of Global Marketing and ultimately to his current position as Chief Marketing Officer. He pioneered the marketing of sports equipment for many various kinds, but was most instrumental in having the Rawlings Baseball Club become the official club of Major and Minor League Baseball. That's no small accomplishment. I am told that if you're in conversation with it, it's no big deal that he gets interrupted by a call from like Johnny Bench. Anyway, through Mike's association with professional athletes, Rawlings found a market not only in the United States, but in South America, Europe, Australia, Korea, and Japan. So please welcome Mike Thompson.
All right. Thank you guys very much. First of all, congratulations to the inductees. Really honored to be alongside you. I also want to thank Dave Dudley. Dave is the one that nominated me, so Dave, you're out there somewhere. I appreciate you doing this. This game is a total shocker to me. I didn't know anything about this. I got a call one day and I sort of fell out of my office chair. So Dave and those of you that wrote letters, sincerely appreciate that. Have a lot of family and friends here today. To all of you that showed up as friends, love you. Thank you for coming. My family, my 3 brothers are here. My sister. Thank you guys for coming. And I've got a table full of nephews and nieces. I do want to recognize certainly my wife, Colleen. Colleen, if you just raise your hand back there. She has been my partner in crime for 37 years. I convinced her to leave Southern California. We met in San Diego and were married shortly after we met. And I convinced her to leave a career at Merrill Lynch to pursue my nutty career in the sporting goods industry. And she took the bait, she followed. And not long after that, we moved to St. Louis. So convincing her to do that was pretty incredible, and she's been with me ever since. So, Colleen, thank you. My son Nick is here as well. Nick, give us a shout. He drove down from Denver. My oldest boy is in Los Angeles. We were all together in New York City last week for a big event, and the cross-country thing was just got a little much, so he couldn't make it. You know, I think we've had 5 speakers so far. Alexa is the only one that played by the rules. Jerry laid down the gauntlet. I think I got like 50 emails saying 3 minutes or less, 3 minutes or less, 3 minutes or less. You guys are 0 for 4 over here by a long ways. Yeah, and so I thought really I was going to play by the rules, and how was I going to do this? I'm sitting back there with my brothers, and I said, you guys, I got 3 minutes to deliver a speech. What do you guys think? How can I get this done? And they said, you know, what about the 5B rule? I said, the 5B rule? What's the 5B rule? And they said, you don't know what that is? I said, no. I said, be brief, brother, be brief. Okay. So I'm going to try to be by the 5 rule. My situation is a little different than theirs. These guys are great athletes. That wasn't my path. I'm more of an industry guy inside sports. My situation is somewhat different because I haven't lived here for 45 years. So coming back and being inducted into this thing was just over the top exciting for me. I moved from here shortly after college, spent a couple years in Denver, and spent 12 years in San Diego, and then 30 and counting in St. Louis. So it has been literally 45 plus years since I've lived here, which is pretty crazy just thinking that through. But you know, I do have like really great memories of growing up here, like Jim said, neighborhood memories, you know, just being around everybody. We played sports day and night, 24/7. Didn't matter the season. We followed it. If it was baseball season, we were playing baseball. If it was football, basketball, and so on. But my whole gig turned in when I was 16. I took a job at Herb's Sports Shop. I don't know if any of you are in here old enough to remember Herb's Sports Shop. Well, those that do know what a special place it was. It was like the epicenter of where sports happened. And that was back in the day. That was before the internet. That was before iPhones. That was before Amazon. That was before Dick's Sporting Goods. It happened at Herb's. If you were an athlete, you bought your stuff at Herb's. You bought your cleats there. You bought your glove there. You bought all your good stuff there. Herb supplied the schools. And so he was my first mentor, Herb Casebear. He happens to be in this Hall of Fame. So it's kind of like a full circle moment for me. One of my mentors that brought me along, he's the guy that formed Bantam League football in Pueblo. He's the guy that formed the Old Timers Baseball Association. I'm not sure if those things are still around, but you know, he was the architect for that, and that was pretty cool. So I've come full circle. I look at Pueblo, and I think somebody said it earlier. It's where I got my business grit. It's sort of what's given me the sandpaper edge in business. I think you said chip on your shoulder. I mean, if you're from here and you go to other cities, like I'm dealing with a lot of successful people at high levels, Major League Baseball people, you know, a lot of Ivy League guys in there. And when I tell them where I'm from, they scratch their head and go, what? Well, where is that, you know? But really, it's given me a business edge, the way I look at it. I've always led with a chip on my shoulder, and it's always worked for me. So it's a full circle moment. I've had an outstanding 40-year career at Rawlings Sporting Goods. I was 5 years in sales, 5 years as a regional manager, and in the last 30, I've been in an executive position. So I've seen a lot of things. I've been to a lot of cool events. I've met a lot of cool people. I have great friends that are, you know, Hall of Fame type athletes. This is a full circle moment for me because that would not be possible had I not grown up in this town. So I'm humbled by this award. I'm grateful to be here. And I'm particularly grateful because these two guys over here, Prim and Jim, we graduated together. Prim I've known since junior high at Pitts, you know, and then throughout high school he was the top golfer in the school always. And then Jim, man, we were separated at birth, essentially. Our moms, Central Wildcats by the way, were best friends growing up. And so Jim and I, just by virtue of our mothers, were best friends. So I've known this guy 67 years. Well, you're a year older. You know, his dad held him back, if anybody's. Yeah. 1957, 1956. It's funny how that works. All right, well anyway, thank you all for inducting me into this great hall. I'm honored, I'm privileged, and just so happy to be here. Thank you very much.
And just realized I have something in common with your wife. I too lived a career at Merrill Lynch, and we were headquartered in San Diego, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, I don't know where our next inductee went to high school. Bill, where did you go to high school? Central, there you go. Bookends here, we got two bookends from Central. Bill Yalotz. It's impossible to think of the glory days of stock car racing in Pueblo without thinking of Bill Yalotz. He's not only a legend lately, he's been for many, many, many years. I still remember watching the races at the old Pueblo Speedway and watching Bill battle with Walt Pickard, Ronnie McDowell, Jim Carty, and some of the real legends. Then we would go into the pits after the main event to see who Walt Pickard was fighting that week. It was not a scheduled fight, he just always seemed to have one. Before becoming a legendary stock car driver, Bill was a standout catcher in both softball and baseball. His 14 and under softball team won the state championship, as did his 1956 Central Wildcats baseball team. I guess I did know where he went to high school since I wrote this. Anyway, the mind is starting to go. Okay, but on the track is where Bill made his name. He raced for 65 years. He raced at Pueblo Speedway and then Beacon Hill. He competed at Pikes Peak Speedway, Sportsman's Park in Colorado Springs. Around the country, he raced in Altus, Oklahoma, Craig Road Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. He competed in the Cooper World Classic at the Phoenix International Raceway. Bill's a licensed NASCAR driver, but has also competed in sprint cars around the nation. It's estimated he's won more than 100 races. He was inducted into the Colorado Motorsports Hall of Fame last year. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Yalotz.
Well, thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. And, you know, you mentioned Central. I had to go Central Wildcats. When I went to Central, there was no South High School. So you may have the majority, but I got the seniority. All right, well, wow. I'm pleased and honored to be accepted into the GPSA Hall of Fame. I want to thank my daughter Julie for nominating me, and the board and the committee for accepting me. And I want to thank my family and friends, a whole bunch of them here supporting me tonight. I'm proud to join my father, Bill Yalotz, who was inducted into the GPSA in 2012. And I just found out tonight it was exactly 12 years ago to the day that he was inducted. So that's awesome. He was a professional prize fighter back in the 1920s and 30s, so a long, long time ago. And I'm getting all out of my notes because I'm listening to everything these guys say, and then I got to scribble additional things in here that I forgot about. So I'm proud of my father, I mentioned. And many friends, teammates, coaches, teachers, fellow racers, and other inductees into the GPSA Hall of Fame. I have two wives to thank. My first wife, Lola May, was a strong supporter of my racing. She and our kids attended all of our races. It was a family event. And unfortunately, we lost her to cancer in 1981. My current wife, Sandy, and I will celebrate our 41st anniversary December the 10th. I lost my spot here. She and my son Gerald actually talked me into buying a race car in November of 1984. We were at a trade show in Denver. They had an auction, and there was a very nice Super Late model stock car that didn't sell. We talked to the owner. He said the car was all set up and ready to go to the Copper World Classic in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, we agreed on a price. I went to the credit union in Pueblo and told them I wanted to get a loan to buy a race car. And they said, "You what?" Well, they loaned me the money. We bought the car. We had a lot to learn because this is our first coilover chassis and kind of totally different than a regular car was. But we went to the Copper World Classic in February of 1985. We qualified for the race. It was my first time on a big 1 mile track where speeds are about 160 miles an hour. Again, we qualified 31st. I moved up halfway through the field to 16th place. There was a big crash and it ended the race. In fact, it's an all-day race. They have 4 different classes and it was dark by the time they got the crash cleared out. We also competed at Beacon Hill Speedway, Colorado National Speedway, and Pikes Peak International Speedway. They built that super racetrack right in my own backyard. I couldn't wait to race there, and now it's shut down. They don't let us play there anymore. I probably have about 1,000 miles on that track. I've run a bunch of races there, both with the NASCAR Southwest Tour and Midwest Tour. Let's see, where am I at here? We also competed at many tracks around the country, in Kansas, Oklahoma. That's my passion in life, is running race cars. So I keep losing my space. If you'll forgive me here, I'll find it. I want to thank Harold Steves, who owns Steves Wrecking Yard. He gave me my first race car. He worked with my dad at CF&I, and he had a salvage yard. And I was 17 years old at the time, and told him I wanted to go racing, and he gave me that car. And he said, "You strip the chrome, the glass, you give me that stuff, you build a car, and at the end of the year, you bring me what's left." And that's what I did. And again, that was at the old Pueblo Speedway on Prairie in 1958. Okay, we competed, let's see, where else? I keep getting lost. My partners, Roger Nelson and John Elgin, we won the 1972 Beacon Hill Super Late Model Championship. My brother, John Yalotz, my dad, Bill Sr., my mom, Vern Griffith, Milton Walling, and Dale Hampton, who are all deceased, were all good helpers and supporters. My sons, Gerald, who was my late model crew chief, Bobby, our statistician and all-around helper. Bobby goes to all the local races and stays home to run our family business when I travel out of state. I'm very thankful for everything he does. Cliff Bartell asked me to drive his mini sprint car in Norton, Kansas, which I did from 2004 through 2009. We won many events those years. I always wanted to drive a sprint car, and Cliff gave me that opportunity. And I don't think Cliff's here tonight. He was going to, but thank you anyway, Cliff. I bought my own Todd Noddy sprint car in 2009. I installed my NASCAR Southwest Tour engine and have been very successful running many tracks over the last 15 years. Thanks to my grandson Nash, my sprint car crew chief, Gene Pastor, Rick Adkins, John Yalotz Jr., Bill Dickey, Warren Cassett, Robin South, John Thompson, and many others who helped and or supported me. My true passion in life is driving race cars, and I thank the good Lord for my ability to do so. I'm 84 years young, and I've been driving race cars on and off for 66 years and still winning. I'm ready to retire if I can sell my cars. If not, I might still run my limited schedule with my sprint car. And in fact, they run the Belleville Village Nationals, which is a half-mile high bank track in Belleville, Kansas. It's billed as the fastest half-mile track in the world. And the Belleville Village Nationals are an invitational race, and I've already been invited for June next year to go to that race. All right, so some say it's not a sport without a ball. However, football, basketball, baseball, tennis, golf, etc. only require one ball. But in auto racing, it helps to have two. Thanks again for accepting me and with us together.
That was good, Bill. Remember the old Pueblo Speedway? I was like 13 and asked for a job, and they gave me Pepsi to sell in bottles. And they made it about 30 feet, and I went back and said, I think I'm more of a popcorn guy. Thanks for coming tonight. We're going to bring Jerry back up for closing remarks and then have benediction. This is one of the really fun things I get to do every year. So thanks to the GPSA. Every year they try to find somebody better, and then they ask me anyway. So thank you for that, and thank you all for coming tonight. I hope you had a good time. And Bill, thanks for the grins. Okay, Jerry, it's all yours. Jerry does a great job. Thank you.
Wow, this is really a special group because technically I probably should have graduated with the South Colts. I moved over there to off of Red Creek Road as a sophomore in Hodge. We went to a camp, football camp, Fort Collins or something like that. He goes, man, you got to go south. You live right by south. I'm like, I'm a bulldog. I'm going to have to stick it out. Little do they know, you spent 4 years there. I spent 36 years there. So you guys, I trumped it about 10 times. But Joe, well, after he won the 97 state title, he called me up the next day on Sunday and spent about 2 hours with me talking about what it was like to win that first state title for South High. And I still cherish that article because he took a lot of time and asked a lot of really special questions of how we managed to do that. And I always look back at that. Prem, if you haven't taken a lesson from him, probably about 60 of us in here have done that already. He doesn't try to change your grip and do that. Hey, come over here, Jerry. You can do that. Thank goodness, because you get the hiccups once in a while, especially when you're a wrestler. But he worked me right out of that and helped me. And he did a great job for our community. Chris, we took a picture tonight with my son. But Josh goes, well, I know Dad, but Chris is your son. I know he's one of you like your son. So I took a picture tonight with both my sons, because that's how highly I think of Chris. And I probably had one of the proudest moments because I retired at 17, and about 2020, he calls me out. He goes, hey, Jerry, Pinkerton went over to county, and we don't call him Jerry, he goes, Coach Sis. He goes, Sis, and I'd like you to finish the rest of the school year as the activities director. And I'm like, Chris, I've never done that. He goes, Sis, I ain't worried about it. You could do it. So I finished the school year. So I got to be in those administrative meetings and just stare at this young man that I got to coach and watch him be a leader. That was one of my proudest moments as his daddy or whatever. Jim, I know your sister way better because I go to Gus's a lot. So I get to see her way more than I ever got to see you. But if you ever want to see me and her at the same time, we should be at Gus's. Bill, Bobby, I used to go, we would spend almost every weekend at their place getting a van. And so if it wasn't for the Yalotz that provide transportation, the wrestling teams would never get anywhere in the state. So I really do want to thank them. And I don't know if Mike knows this address, 831 West 8th. He mentioned it earlier tonight. It's a Lynn Care place because I went there today. I have to do the sleep study. So I call the lady, she tells, what's 831? It's on West 8th. So I pull up, it's her sports shop. So I tell, hey, people, when you tell people where this place is, tell them it's her sports shop. They'll know where to go. Oh, I don't know. And Alexia, that's the first time I met her this year, but she's a special person. We're neighbors, so we're already back in that. So this is a great group for me. So enough of that, but I thought I just couldn't help all the stuff that went tonight. It was really special to hear these people talk tonight. So in my closing remarks, I'll take my glasses off. I would like to share some of the association's accomplishments for the 2024 calendar year. This is the second year we have been members of the Chamber of Commerce, and our goal is to be more visual in the community. This is also the second year members have worked at the Pueblo Chili Festival, contributing community service as an association. We completed our first year providing a monthly GPSA newsletter, and if you would like to receive our newsletter, scan the QR code in tonight's program and enter your email. Make sure and do that before you leave tonight because Ashland Drury, which I want to thank, has taken 1,000 pictures, and we're going to try to sort through some of those and put them in our December newsletter. So take a sneak peek, you're probably going to be in it. We voted to start an appeal month, which is September, to solicit those ideas, what happened here? I'm like my man over there, I must have got the wrong sheet. Those ideas provided our first ever gift basket drawing. So a special thanks goes out to our GPS members for being progressive and wanting to make our association better. Guests who participated in our first ever gift basket drawing before leaving, check to see if your ticket was drawn. So that's all been taken care of. If you have your ticket, go over there and check, and then verify it with one of our members, and then you can walk away with that basket tonight. I want to thanks to a special member, John Barker. He's our website designer, does our media stuff, for providing the inductee slideshow that he's watched tonight. That was very special. Creating a new format for tonight's program. This is the first time we've ever put our inductees on the very front cover. So this was on his idea, and tonight we were able to come up with a really nice program. I'm pretty sure that Pueblo is the only community in Colorado that provides a Hall of Fame recognition and encompass our athlete, coaches, officials, and contributors who have excelled from our community. The year that I was selected Coach of the Year, that was a special. The years that I got selected as Coach of the Year, that was special because I was selected by my peers. Well, tonight's inductees should feel the same way because our association is comprised of past athletes, coaches, teachers, administrators, activities directors, contributors, and GPS inductees. If you love sports and have some extra time, you need to become part of the GPSA. My answer, there's a lot of people that say, so-and-so should be in the Hall of Fame. And I always tell them, my answer is, be their nominator, sit down with them, ask them and put it in the application and get it in before August 1st. Then the selection process begins. We have a first-year reading, a second-year reading, a third-year reading, 2-year sabbatical, and then they resubmit. I also want to thank tonight our officers. Miles Gorham, he's like, I could not get anything done as the president if it wasn't for Miles. We spend, every month, we sit down, go to lunch, and we talk about the GPSA. John Galena has spent 4 years being our secretary and writing everything, little thing down for each meeting. And Mike Scott was the treasurer before I became president, but he's been instrumental in keeping things moving, recruiting some people to become part of the GPSA, and getting Don and supporting us in this in our association. The final thing is, I want to thank everyone for attending this evening's banquet to celebrate tonight's inductees. Good night and God bless. Thank you very much. This concludes our banquet. Thank you very much. And those of you GPS members, well, we got to do our, excuse me.